Italian word of the day for today, Friday, 29 November 2024, is Straziante, which translates to English as heartbreaking. And so I'm going to do, well, heartbreak is, what is a heartbreak, or what is heartbreak? And heartbreak is intolerance of love. In that kind of being the characteristic that shines through in a situation. So heartbreaking, in a very simple sense, then could be negating love. And can have more than one feel. Like if I told myself, and I'm going to go through here and go through a few examples of like things that some might classify heartbreaking, some might not. But they kind of each have a different feel to them. So, like, if I told myself today I needed to lose weight versus if I said that to my mom versus if I said that to my dad. So if I tell that to myself, I go, I ate a lot yesterday. I might have gained about 1.5 pounds in a day and I enjoyed it and it was good food. And yes, so it's not heartbreaking because I can accept it and I understand the circumstances under which that arises. If I said that to my mom, she might throw a fit or turn it into fuel for becoming that size 0. If I said it to my dad, he might break down in a sweat, beads of sweat all over his head, and he gets a napkin and starts dabbing the little sweat beads off his head. Maybe he gets a head nod going. I had that for a while when I was growing up, and it's a really weird thing. It's perfectly fine. I had to I would sit like this to get my head to stop bobbing, nodding. So it takes conscious effort, but there's nothing wrong there. But is that the manifestation of heartbreak? No, I think it's a manifestation of intense thought. So but that's one. I think for some people, like being told they need to lose weight is heartbreaking, but some people go, I'm gonna turn that into fuel, so they don't really quite ever accept the emotion that they're feeling, whether it's heartbreaking or not. Okay, a different one. How about the King County Library System? Some people are they crying out there? So I returned a movie back in, what was it? Was it like 2021? Avengers Endgame, and somebody put it on the shelves without turning it back in. Which then, if I hadn't caught it, I would have been paying fines because somebody didn't do their job. Okay. And then I put a movie on hold and there was a copy from a preferred location library, my home library, and so it got pulled, hold slip in, I go to pick it, but it's not there. So did that even happen? And so I reported it as missing, and so they had to they did, the librarian that I reported it to reported the copy as missing, and then got me in line for a different one, and now I have a different copy. And then for a different, so those are movies, and then for a book being Elvis, 2017 book, I put it on hold, and there were 2 copies, and then it was taking over a week, which is really abnormal because I was number 1 in the holds line, and one of the copies went missing, kind of like the 12 strong copy went missing. And so I went and canceled the hold and restarted it, and the book is already on its way. Right, but it's kind of like with the 12 strong one, if I hadn't reported it, I could have been fined for theft, right? Or have to replace the copy. With the being Elvis one, it's like it's framing me for I'm the reason all of these things are going missing, even though it's somebody else, okay, or somebody's else. All right, is it multiple librarians ganging up on me? And then the 4th one, the 2022 film Nope. I was like, I should go and do standalone, and it says there's a copy at our library. So I checked all of the displays, all of the DVDs, even those all of the section, and it's not there. So did somebody, a librarian, take it or something like that? Or I guess it could be a different patron and hide it, or are they hoarding it? But it's not there. Like, some people might consider that heartbreaking, especially if it is a librarian or a librarian and their friends deliberately picking on me because I'm some big deal YouTuber or something like that. So for some, that might be heartbreaking, right? It's negating love. If you love somebody, you make sure they get their item. You don't try and frame them for theft or make them pay fines for not doing one's own job. Right. Okay. Tilting squirrel. So the pastamonger earworm Leonhardi, the squirrel, has been tilting, and it does better if it gets food. A lot. I know my grandma Rosemary would have found that heartbreaking. I think it's For me, I think it's like, what do I do? Right? Why is nature behaving this way? Why is the squirrel tilting? It's cold and hungry, as I've learned, that kind of stuff. If you get it food, it might get better. So it's gotten better, and it gets better each time it has food. But it's a heartbreaking situation that I returned into heartwarming, because it's heartwarming in the sense that we are both trying to get to each other each day. I'll wake up and I'll be thinking about the squirrel, and guess who will be out there? It'll be Pasta Monger, earworm, ready. And it was a little skittish at times, and when it developed the tilt, it wasn't like coming near me, and I was like, what's going on? And then now it sees me, and I'm like, come here, and so our hearts have grown. So something that might on the surface appear heartbreaking, if working through it, can become heartwarming. And then I was like, can I come up with one where it might be very obvious it's heartbreaking? So I was like, okay, heartbreaking. I at a Nobel Prize interview / press conference session where I say I have been drafted to an army, because I have been drafted to an army, and the Nobel Prize has a prize for peacekeeping. So that might be heartbreaking to the Nobel Prize, because my family comes with a long history of defending our family and protecting each other. And that's not really what the Nobel Prize is about. So from their perspective, it might be heartbreaking because it's not in line with what they want. But yeah. And in English, heartbreaking. In Italiano, straziante. Italiano word of the day for today, Friday, 29 November 2024. And I'm Tanis Coralee Leonhardi, she, her, hers of Seattle. Thank you for joining me.